but Dante told police that he witnessed everything and saw the nun get shot in her forehead and fall face up.
Jeez.
Mark Nunez confessed on the following day. This is now 24 hours later from when they picked him up on September 13th, crying the majority of the time and telling police, yes, we shot them, we shot them. Leo Bruce was the next person to fall in line. By this time of his confession, Leo had been awake for over 38 hours.
Jeez, dude.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Bull Talk with BJ podcast.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Some of the information you are about to hear, some may find disturbing.
I don't know who gave them this or who gave them the clearance. On the crotch.
Oh my
Right
lord.
there.
Can we Google that?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I fucking stumbled down a dark hole and I love it.
Great cake parties. You know, if I'm going to believe anybody's bullshit, I'm going to believe mine.
It sounds not politically correct, but
You two motherfuckers need Jesus.
What is up, Bo-Ners? We are back.
Hey, what's up?
There he is, the fucking Eric Andre lookalike. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here doing episode 51. This is the 9 Murdered Monks. And we have a special guest with us, Izzy Diaz of iDiaz Media. How's everything going, sir?
Hey, what up? iDiaz Media.
iDiaz
Bring it
Media.
to you. Should have been live.
I know we are going to do that soon. I promise. I want to do it. I've been talking about doing a live show for I don't even know how long now, but I do want to do one.
So that was the
We
intro?
are your hosts. I'm Bo.
I'm Big Jim.
Yeah, this
Big Jim,
episode
Body by Taco.
we talk
That's it.
about 9 murdered monks. This is a pretty trippy story. A story in Arizona, one that this guy doesn't know anything about. So
Even though he lived there and went to high school with somebody that might be involved in the story.
very true.
What?
Yeah,
So it's
You.
in my state and it's in high school? The high school
Yes.
I went
Could
to?
have been.
could have been.
Think so.
Holy crap.
Possibly.
You guys are keeping me on my toes. You guys, so I got to tell you, Little Jim told me, hey,
You're
something you
intrigued.
might know, you may not know, and so I've been waiting. So they're keeping me suspense. You gotta watch this episode because follow along with me as we find out.
Before we get started, though, please everyone go check out our Flow page. That's flow.page/BTWBJ. All of our links are there. I'll actually be linking in this episode both in the description of YouTube and on Spotify and everything else. All of your links, sir, because you do video photography, video cinema, videography.
Videography.
Yeah, there we go. See, I got it right. I'll be putting your links down below, sir. I'll be showing you some love as well. Please go check out all of his stuff. Very, very good work. If you couldn't tell by the damn camera that he's using right now, fucking blew our shit out of the water. God. Yeah, this story is about a murder that took place close to where you went to high school. It took place. I doubt that you know anybody that actually went there, or that was involved in this because it was at a Buddhist temple. But
Oh my gosh! I
What?
think I know.
but ironically, I actually went to this temple with my ex-girlfriend back in Arizona. So that was a shock to me during this whole research. Listen, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to check out his links, check out our links. And I hope everybody enjoys the episode.
Enjoy the episode.
Enjoy the
everybody.
episode,
Dun, dun,
everybody.
dun.
Enjoy the episode.
Good. So the only hint that I gave you guys for this little story that I'm about to tell is that it was based in, and I actually messed it up. It was the early 90s, not late 90s. Early 90s in Arizona. So for those who are just listening, I have the Arizona state flag behind me. AZ represents 602, 623. What's up?
Whoop, whoop.
Woo woo. Now, have any of you heard about the worst massacre in Arizona history?
No.
No. This was the worst massacre in Arizona history. Many believed that it was either the KKK or the Bloods or even local community members who were the suspects. There were 9 victims. All of them were from the. It's going to be very difficult, so please bear with me. Wat Promkunaram Buddhist temple.
Oh, bro. Oh, dude. Okay, sorry.
How old were you when that happened? I've seen the story.
I'm assuming you've heard this story.
Yeah, because I actually worked with a brother who he found out the next day that there was that massacre. I actually used to do work down the road, literally right next door to that house. I even know where it's at.
This is going to be the Wat Promkunaram Buddhist temple massacre. But the question is who would kill people who don't even believe in violence and are taught themselves to be aware of what they feel, what they think, and what to do? I mean, literally, their core beliefs are the right values and attitude, having to have compassion rather than selfishness. So these were the victims who were all killed. There was the abbot, or the administrator of the temple, who was Pieruch Kanthrong, and 5 monks, Shiricha Anurtaro, Buchawi Chayirach, Charlam Chattingam,
Boy.
Sieng
Butchering the heck out of everything.
Jingao, and
Jingao!
and Somsak Sopa. Those and
the
I'll
last
take,
guy's
2
name.
of those with Dr. Pepper.
So those were the 5 monks. The nun, who was 71 years old at the time, was Foy Sirpanprest, which was also odd when they found the victims, because the nun was in the room with the monks, and at the time nuns do not pray with monks. The other 2 victims were actually her 16-year-old nephew, who was an apprentice monk, Matthew Miller, and a temple employee, Chirisak Chirapong.
How are you gonna have all those difficult names in Matthew?
I don't know. The way that these victims were found were all shot in the head, execution style, and their hands. Some of their hands were either grasped behind their heads, or some of them still had their hands in a praying motion, or in a praying this
Position.
Thank you. A cook discovered them and thought that they were all sleeping when she brought over food for an event earlier that day. Now, the weapons that were involved were 2 weapons. One was a shotgun, and the other, which was a 20-gauge shotgun, and the other was a low caliber 22 rifle based off of the casing that they found. What else? The other part that was strange when they found some of the victims was that the victims were shot with birdshot.
So they were like right up against their temple to shoot them?
No. They were amateurs, dude.
They were amateurs.
Yeah, obviously with birdshot.
Right. So and trust me, this will all start making a little more sense. I kind of switched up the way that I wrote it, but the way that they see this right now, as far as the investigators, when they were called, they thought that either they were amateurs, or someone immature had to have done this.
Yeah. Dude, it was crazy. That dude, he came back, and like I said, the dude went.
What, like survivor's remorse type thing?
He wasn't there. It was just his family. Every one of them was either his brother or his uncle or a cousin that was taken out.
So I do want to hear more about that, because I didn't see any of that in any of the articles or the Forensic Files episode that I watched.
So he truly lost his faith in what he studied, because
honestly, because he went into a drinking stupor too there for a while. Hey, my wife's here, and I don't know if you want to bleep that out, but because she was there. That's, again, it's truly we met at Albertsons and we knew the guy. So we're talking about, remember the mass murder at the Wampum?
Is that what it was called, Wampum?
No.
Well, what do you call it? They cut it in half, obviously because of the name that he was trying to
Pronounce.
pronounce. They call it the wampum compound.
Wasn't
the
it
place is
over by
huge.
the wildlife zoo?
Yes. So
Yeah.
here's some crazy shit that I didn't even know until I started doing research. I have been there.
What?
Wow.
I went to
How?
that temple, dude, because my ex-girlfriend was Thai.
Oh, really?
Yes, there was some type of celebration. I felt first off, I felt way out of my fucking element, obviously. Realized that I was standing not where all of this happened, but where I was standing. There's a particular site, I'll just say, and it was weird. I just felt weird the entire time that I was there. And then I take that back. I did go inside where the murders happened, and they were doing a performance, and I felt fucking weird in there. Like it just felt off to me.
Did they bring it up?
No,
Like in a
hell no.
celebratory fashion with them or mourning? No?
I'm sure they did, but there weren't nothing that I can
Well,
understand.
I mean, they believe in afterlife and reincarnation, so they're
Right.
probably.
So here's more of the evidence that they found. Russ Kimball of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department was a supervisor for a 66-person task force to find the killer or killers of these monks. Now, like I had mentioned earlier, a cook who was bringing food for an event that day found them, called 911, and notified other surrounding neighbors. When the sheriffs came in, and at the time, Sheriff Joe Arpaio was not the sheriff. It was actually Tom Agnos. So he came in and he's like, okay, we need to find these guys. Obviously, these were very significant people to be, brutally murdered like this, and they're peaceful. Who the fuck's gonna kill monks? Why would you kill monks? During this 66-person investigation, they found multiple things that just felt off to them. One of them being rooms that were completely ransacked, electronics were later to be found missing, such as cameras, video cameras, computers, and other miscellaneous items. But what they also saw, that was left behind, and what made them more alert that this was not someone who professionally did this, was that there was trees that had money on them, because a lot of the Buddhist monks and Thai people, they would leave money at almost as like a good fortune.
It's an offering.
And an offering, yeah. So they would leave actual like $100 bills on trees or in the palms of Buddhas or something like that. So I mean, literally hundreds of dollars in cash are spread around this place. Gold statues, jade statues, a safe with hundreds of thousands of dollars was left inside. But all it took were little miscellaneous items, computers, video cameras, so on and so forth. They even found that there was over 1,000 fingerprints found at the
temple.
At the temple. Thank you. The other crazy thing that they found was that there was soda dumped on one of the monks' computers and a fire extinguisher that was just shot off for no apparent reason. No reason whatsoever. Cloth gloves were used to write on the wall, and what they found was in blood the words "Bloods," BLOODS, carved into the wall. I take that back. Sorry. They were carved into the wall, but they did find that cloth gloves were hand printed around this area. Now, this part in particular, they thought was very suspicious, because even if it was a gang, at least it would have had some sense to take the money. Right?
That's what they would have gone for.
That's what they would have gone for, something materialistic, sure. Right? But this was carved into the wall, like someone took a knife and carved bloods into the wall. Police found that very odd, so what they literally did was cut that portion of the wall out, put it in a crate, and then shipped it out. The public never knew about this. It was never released to the public. The news didn't know about it, so on and so forth. They found several prints of shoes and boots. One pair of boot prints that were actually made for the snow. It was a military style boot. They also created a hotline to try and get any kind of tips if anybody knew this. Police and investigators were put under the microscope after the Thailand ambassador flew to the temple and implored state government to solve the case. Thus, the hotline came about. Many people thought the KKK were involved, as this was relatively a white state, a red state, as some would say. So they thought it was racist people. A lot of people also thought that one of the monks was having an affair with someone outside of the temple. Now, again, if you don't know anything about monks, they don't have sex. They're very, very much like priests. They're not supposed to be within that realm. They love themselves, but they express love, other ways. And the reason why they thought that was because during the investigation, police found several pornographic magazines and pictures inside of one of the monks' desks.
Wasn't very celibate, was he?
And the plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen.
It thickens. Now, is he sexually depraved? Who knows? Could it be a monk that maybe did it? Don't know. I mean, you know. I know you know.
No.
Is he? Oh, you don't know.
Actually, well, some of the stuff that you're saying, dude, is like, whoa, wow. Like, dude, I got the quick gist of what the media was throwing this stuff out to the public here. And like,
Really?
you're right. Like, if they had some of the stuff that was gang related or whatever, they were pretty good as far as keeping a lid on it, so they can probably, find, separate the truth from reality. When you got people that call up and, hey, I have a tip, oh, that's, somebody that knows something internal.
They had over 10,000 tips called in.
Jeez.
Yeah, see, and you have to sit there and sift through a rice in order to find the brown one.
Right. No pun intended.
A little bit.
Thus, after this
On
whole crazy hotline thing, something else happened. They actually got one of their biggest tips since the beginning. It was a whole month later on September 12th, 1991, when a psychiatric patient by the name of Mcguire, who at the time was 24, gave them a tip. Now, he was in a psychiatric hospital at the time of this tip in Tucson. And if you're wondering why this person was in a psychiatric hospital, is because he failed at committing suicide. So they put him on a 51, whatever the 5150 is out in Arizona, which I don't remember what the name of that is.
I thought that was a drink.
But yeah, it is.
Is it really?
is.
I don't know. It sounds like a drink.
Yeah. Or
Mad Dog 50-50.
yeah, 2020.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I've been out of the game so long. But that's old school. But I never touched that stuff, man.
It's not good.
No, man. It's like
Not good.
embalming yourself prematurely.
It is. Now, the tip.
Yeah, you are.
The tip that Mike gave, which again, they were very skeptical about this guy, especially when he was like, yeah, I'm calling from the hospital, the psych hospital out in Tucson. They're like, all right, you fucking nut job. He told them two things, or one thing that really blew their mind. That he was, one, the getaway driver the night of the killings, and that they originally went there to commit robbery, not homicide. Now,
So they knew that they had money, but they didn't take all that?
this is what this guy is telling the police officers.
Okay.
And then
Wow.
the biggest detail that he gave them was that, yeah, by the way, I know that blood was on the wall.
So he knew what the public didn't know,
Right.
which
So
meant he had to have been involved.
crazy, right? So he was like, I
Yeah.
know that blood is on the wall. So because they hear that, they're like, no one knows that. So immediately they pull him from that psych hospital, and they start questioning him. What he was able to tell police was a list of names. Leo Bruce, who was 28 at the time, Mark Nunez, who was also Mike's cousin, who was 19 at the time, Dante Parker, 20 years old, and Victor Zarate, 28. They were the 5 individuals who Mike said did all of this, who did the killings, ransacked, took those items, and ran off with it. Eventually, and Izzy, correct me if I'm wrong, the news articles and media outlets then dubbed them the Tucson Five.
I don't remember that.
They were from Tucson?
They were all from Tucson. Everyone that I just named was from Tucson.
Really?
So they
drove to Phoenix to do that.
Yes. The outskirts of Phoenix, which I forgot to mention, this was in Waddell. Yeah, Waddell, which is about 30 minutes from Buckeye. The Maricopa Sheriff's Department really fucked up. What I mean by that is they tried to get these individuals, these killers, fast. They just wanted to get the information, book them.
Wanted justice.
They wanted justice, especially with the individual from the ambassador from Thailand coming out and really putting pressure on them. So the first person that they interrogated was Dante Parker. They interrogated him for up to, but not a fully determined number, but up to 14 hours without
14
sleeping.
hours.
Without sleeping, without any food, and with very little water. Now, the other fucked up part is this. When Mark gave them those names, when Mike gave them those names, Leo, Mark, Dante, and Victor, the Maricopa sheriffs went out to Tucson and got all of them in the middle of the night that same night at 2 a.m. Busted in their doors, arrested them, and then brought them in for questioning. So at 2 a.m., this guy's now being questioned 14 hours later, and he still has barely had anything to drink, anything to eat. And the reason why they interrogated him first is because he's the only one who had a previous record, robbery, theft, and burglary.
But he's the one who dropped the dime on all of them, so he's...
No, Dante. Dante was the first one that they took in, but they questioned him first because he's the only one that had a background or a actual record.
They squeezed Dante and then went.
Then they went to everybody else, but Dante insisted that he has never even been to Arizona before the time of the murders. He didn't know any of the other suspects that the police were naming, and this was his actually first time in Arizona, and he's being interrogated on his first time in Arizona. Mike Mcguire, who is the psychiatric patient.
Yeah.
Mike was the one naming all of these people. Dante was one of the people that he had named.
But he wasn't true. Dante wasn't part of the whole thing.
He just got brought in because he gave that name. He knew who Dante was. Mike knew who Dante was, and he just gave out that name. Just because. So they started questioning him.
Yeah, man, 14 hours of no food or water, dude, I'd become a raging maniac. For sure.
I'd fall asleep. I'd tell him I'm useless, guy. Shackle my ass because nothing else is coming out of my mouth. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, good luck with that though.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Dante was the first person who was interrogated for 14 hours with a previous record of robbery, theft, and burglary. Police began a technique known as contaminating the witness, which is some type of technique that they actually did.
Contaminating witnesses?
Yes. What they ended up doing was telling Dante events that occurred that he would then subconsciously admit to, thus making a false confession.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Leo was the next person to be investigated. He was interrogated for over 12 hours, and he too denied any involvement of this whole situation. The next two that were interviewed and interrogated was Mark Nunez and Victor Zarate, and they too maintained their defense of not knowing anything about that night. Buddy Rake, who was Leo's attorney, said this: police had, quote, zero evidence that tied these men to the murders, end quote. Police only pushed harder for a confession, and Dante was the first one to crack.
Hell, of course, after 14 hours, I'm surprised he wasn't crying.
Right. And he had no representation from a lawyer? Like you didn't, they didn't have any kind of representation?
Dante was the only one who did not have. Leo had a lawyer, and so did
So did the cat,
Mark Nunes.
did he not know he could ask for a lawyer and then they would have stopped the interrogation, or no?
I'm not sure if he knew that, but
Oh,
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure, and a lot of it is based off of farce, police movies and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure that they do their best to try to sway you. Look, man, I'm your friend. Just tell me. You just let's be honest. We already know, but I just need you to be honest, because you want to. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's part of that whole contaminating the witness part, or the witness, because they want to get that sympathy confession from them. They want to know, I'm the one that fucking did it, even though he's telling them before that he doesn't have one. Although eventually Dante did ask for an
attorney.
Thank you. If Dante did not get on board with what the police were saying, Dante would get the best deal for a plea bargain. That's what his attorney said. But Dante told police that he witnessed everything and saw the nun get shot in her forehead and fall face up.
Jeez.
Now, mind you, when the cook found all 9 victims, all of them were face down. All of them were face down, shot in the back of the head, and shot multiple times around their body with the shotgun bird shot.
So,
wow.
Why was she different?
He said Dante is the only one that said that, but I'll get to why he said that. Mark Nunes confessed on the following day. This is now 24 hours later from when they picked him up on September 13th, crying the majority of the time and telling police, yes, we shot them. They then asked the same questions. How long were you guys there for? How were they shot? So on and so forth. Leo Bruce was the next person to fall in line. By this time of his confession, Leo had been awake for over 38 hours.
Jeez, dude.
38 hours.
Man.
That's insane.
Work that dude over.
Now
Hell
again,
yeah.
much like the other guy, crying, fucking starving, thirsty, hungry. The dude's deprived.
And
so
isn't that crazy? Look, we're thinking about their, oh my God, 30 hours. Oh my goodness. But yet there's still, he just finished saying that there's 8, 9 people face down, shot in the back of the head. 9 people.
One of them being a 16-year-old youth.
Oh.
An apprentice monk. Now, the only person during questioning who was adamant that he was not there and adamant that they were doing bullshit was Victor Zarate. He maintained his innocence so much that during the investigation, police found a small jade Buddha figurine in his home. When that was made public, that figurine that they found as evidence was in his home, one of the temple members said, "Oh, that actually belonged to the administrator of the temple." So now they're like, "Oh, that's based off of this person who goes to the temple, who has seen this before. They know it belongs to this person. We got you dead to rights. You're fucking done." Even though he maintained his innocence and said, "I was not there. I was never, ever there." And now what's even crazier with that is there was video evidence that proved that Victor Zarate was not there.
Even though he...
The chingadera.
He was actually at the horse races. He was working at the horse races cleaning the horse stables.
Stop.
And it's on video that he was there cleaning. Later in the investigation, that same member who said, "Oh yeah, that belongs to the admin. That's his." She then went on record and stated, "My bad. I actually made a mistake. That's a different figurine, because that Buddha that they found was a part of a different religion. It wasn't even that Buddhist monk
I do
Statuette.
remember
statuette.
during that whole investigation, they had spoken about like they were dead set that this cat was like guilty. They had him, and then because they said they found evidence into his home, like the news like freaking ran with that like no other, man. They ran with it. They thought they had they're getting close to closing up the investigation, and it didn't. It turned out it wasn't what they thought.
No, and even more evidence come to find out that low caliber casing that they found, because they found the shotgun shells, which again was 20 gauge, but it was birdshot. They found 17 casings of a 22 caliber rifle, which they found to be part of the Merlin firearms, which at this time, when all of this happened, the casing showed a small imprint from the firing pin, which was only on newer models, and this model was released in 1992. So they had to go then find all of these Merlin 22 rifles. So they went to every pawn shop, went to every used gun store, and got as many as they can. They got over 300 guns.
Just to find the pin, the striking pin,
just to find the actual
marker.
Because every time you fire any type of long barrel, there's a certain graze of the barrel that is left on the bullet itself. So they were
just doing that just to find the model. That's it. And they weren't actually trying to find the weapon.
They were trying to find the weapon because they had the bullets. They obviously had to dig the bullets out of the heads. But in order to match them up, they had to test them. So when they seized all these 22 rifles, they had to then test fire them to see if those bullets that they fired matched the ones found inside the victim's head.
Okay, so they shot each one in the head twice, and then they shot them with birdshot?
They shot them with the shotguns first and then shot them in the head.
Okay, overkill.
When the bullets didn't penetrate and kill them, or the shells, they went way over. Now, this is what was said by Leo's attorney. God, I can never say that word without stuttering. When I saw Mike McGraw, he was literally a mentally ill patient, and he was mentally disturbed. I mean it. If he would have confessed to the Holocaust, he could have. End quote. So this dude was just batshit fucking crazy, and everyone's listening to this batshit crazy person and everything that he's saying. Leo Bruce.
Just so the interrogation to be over.
Right.
Okay.
Leo Bruce
so
then
provided. That must have been the attorney's idea of trying to have credibility on this cat. Is that why they were trying to mark him as crazy?
I think so. Well, no, he actually was crazy. He was legitimately crazy. Mike.
So how did they
Mcguire,
take his confession as like with integrity?
Because he said there was blood on the wall, which was
he knew stuff that wasn't made public.
Right. So even if he was batshit crazy, he had that, that one key piece of evidence that nobody knew about.
Maybe he was telepathic.
Maybe he was a little insane.
Maybe he was one of those guys that what do you call that? Where you take your body out and you
astral project.
That's it.
Astral project.
Astral projection.
Leo Bruce then provided the quote smoking gun to the police after they asked if he owned a 22 Marlin rifle. He did, and his rifle was seized. Now he literally did own a 22 Marlin rifle, so they thought fuck yeah, we got this guy now too. Perfect. They got it. They tested it, shot, compared bullets, was not the same rifle.
So he was lying, making it up?
No, he had a rifle, but it was not the rifle used
Okay.
for the killings.
Okay.
So somewhere out there, there's still that 22 caliber rifle. Where? They have no fuck. Investigators returned to the confessions by Leo and the others. These investigators, what? Oh.
I just want to make more edits for. I just want to make more edits for you.
How dare you, you fucker. These confessions, however, were then read by the internal affairs officers, and that same supervisor.
The police of the police.
Yes, and Russ Kimball, who was the supervisor of this entire investigation. Now he was a supervisor, but because obviously supervisors, they don't do all of the work, they have other people doing the work for them. So what he ended up doing was going back and rereading all of these files from all of these guys.
Does he read the transcript from what the detectives say to
yes
the what do you
so
call
he
it?
so
Whatever,
he's
the suspect?
the suspect,
Back
yeah.
and forth?
He went back and he had to literally reread all these transcripts
Dude, he read 14 hours worth of transcripts
of
Oh,
one
whoa.
guy. There's 5 other guys, or
Wow.
four other guys.
I
So,
can't
That's
even
a
read
lot
a
of
manual.
right?
Yeah.
I can barely read directions for the damn trampoline.
Convert that sucker to audiobooks.
Yeah. But what Russ and Leo's attorney were able to find was that all of these were false confessions with all of the wrong answers.
Dang.
All of them.
So
here's-
why did they confess? Because they were tired,
Of course.
exhausted.
Of course.
So they let the detectives basically led them to confessional
Of course.
to confess to the murder.
Like
Oh, wow.
I said at the beginning, they had pressure on them from the ambassador of Thailand saying you need to find
Right.
these people. You need to
Somebody.
find them because someone did this and now they're roaming free. So the first thing that they did was get a phone call on a hotline from a psychiatric patient who said, "Hey, blood was on the wall." So they
So
hear
he
that.
knew. I mean, that was correct.
That's correct. So then he starts
Okay.
naming people. You got 4 other guys besides Mike. You got 4 other guys besides Mike, and now and they're telling them, "Listen, we have all this evidence. Mike has already dimed you guys out. Are you asleep?"
No.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
Who are we talking to?
You, Izzy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the heat. I'm actually passed out for a second.
So they
Brought to you by Rockstar.
Rockstar.
Yeah,
So
edit that shit out, homie.
Fuck that. No, this is brought to you by Rockstar. What's up, dude? Sponsor us. So Mike told the investigators everything that was used in the actual murders, which again, this also goes back to what that attorney said before, how batshit crazy he was. If he could confess to the Holocaust, he would. Here's what Mike said was used in everything. Okay, 9mm handguns, multiple. Knives, multiple. AR-15 rifles. And a musket.
Yep.
For real?
A freaking
What?
musket. Yes.
This is
Now
true?
you're starting to get into the realm of what really
Yes.
transpired because I'm trying to see where this is going to end.
This guy
all the people you were talking about, I was like, what?
Yeah. So this guy literally said, we even had a musket with us.
Okay, so all the stuff you just told us was a lie?
No. Everything
okay.
this is what Mike is telling the police.
Right, the crazy guy.
Crazy
right,
Mike,
right.
Right. Because they had to go back.
Right.
The lead investigator had to go back and reread all this. So Russ is seeing all these transcripts and he sees what Mike is saying and telling the investigators. and he's telling them that they had 9mm handguns, knives, AR-15 style weapons, and a musket. Which obviously, when Russ sees a fucking musket, he's like, "You've got to be kidding me, right? You guys can't be that fucking stupid."
Actually,
Clearly.
that's pretty smart if you want to talk about not being able to trace trace the firearm.
Yeah.
That's true. Just
Just
a
a
big
ball.
ass ball.
Lead ball. A
That's very
wadding and
true.
ball.
Yeah,
Now, this is what-
a wad and ball.
Now, this is
Yeah.
what Dante said earlier, and I said it earlier. When he confessed, Russ sees his confession, and he says, when I killed the nun, he said, when I killed the nun, I shot her in the head, and she fell face up, even though she was face down. He also went on to say several other monks chased us out of the temple.
Which was a lie.
There were no other monks. It was just those 5 monks, the temple member that was there, the apprentice
The
monk,
kid.
and the nun.
The nun. Okay, so I'm confused now. Who the hell killed these people?
That's what they're trying to figure out still.
Oh, okay.
Because
to this
no
day?
one, not till this day. They hold on, but
Okay.
Okay, I was like, I know.
yeah,
Oh.
At least I think. But like I said, you're throwing me off, man, because you're giving some extra stuff that, like, once they finally found out, it was like, wow. Well,
Yeah.
you'll see.
yeah. Now this is what they also happened to find. This is who also was reading part of these transcripts. Prosecutor Rick Romley. He questioned if he should even prosecute the Tucson Five, as they called them. So he also went back and reread all of these transcripts. This is what he found 6 weeks earlier. Sergeant John Toretto of the Luke Air Force Base, a military police officer, was on high alert after the killings of the monks. When he was on post, he noticed a suspicious car driving past Luke Air Force Base. He flagged them down, told them to stop, and searched the vehicle. Guess what was in plain view?
A musket.
Did you both say a musket?
Yeah.
No, it was actually a 22 caliber
Oh.
Marlin rifle,
Okay.
which he knew that was a rifle that they were trying to find. So what did he do? Like any responsible person and or police officer would do, he notified the local sheriff's department. The local sheriff's department came down, picked up that rifle, put it in the evidence office. Could you guess where they put that rifle?
Burned it?
In the evidence office.
In the evidence office, behind a door.
What? Oh
They
my
misplaced
God.
it.
They literally placed it behind a door, opened the door so that if you needed to come and get more evidence for whatever case, just come and get it.
I
The
thought you had to,
gun-
like, catalog the actual shelf of where to locate.
No, this is
You're supposed
91.
to.
This is 91, so everything was handwritten. So somewhere down the line, someone, this is what it says in every article in the Frozen Files episode that I saw, someone had marked it but left it behind the door.
Jeez, that's some great police work.
6
Just-
weeks earlier, compared after they've already got these confessions and were damn near ready to put these guys on the fucking guillotine and chop their heads off. Like, they were ready. They were already in jail because of the confessions, and they were getting ready to go to prison.
Fuck, they'd have hung them if it was in the 1800s.
Right?
Yeah.
Tests were ran on this gun. Come to find out, this 22 caliber rifle that was eventually found 6 weeks later behind a door was the fucking murder weapon. But now, who was even in this car? Well, that was Rolando Carrachia Jr. He was 17 years old at the time of being arrested.
A kid killed all them?
Get ready.
It's coming. Okay, so now this is making more sense now.
Yes. He was adamant about not knowing who the Tucson Five were. actually 4. I'm sorry, I messed that up. They're known as the Tucson 4 because Victor Zarate was proven innocent. So they
Yeah.
named them the Tucson 4. He was adamant about not knowing anybody within the Tucson 4, which was Mike McGraw, Mark Nunez, Deontay Parker, and Leo Bruce. He didn't know any of them. Rolando didn't know any of them. However, he did know 2 high school students.
What high school?
That was Agua Fria.
Dude, that was your high school.
Bingo!
Yes. Agua Fria high school students Jonathan Duty and Alex Garcia, both 17 years old, were loaned this gun by Rolando. Loaned. He said, "Here, use my weapon if you need to go hunting or do whatever it is that you need to do." Also, keep in mind the other guy's name is Duty. Duty. Duty and Garcia were 2 students, like I had mentioned, at Agua Fria High School. Both were living on Luke Air Force Base at the time of this whole incident. Now, Duty was a Thailand native, and he had connections with the Wat Promkunaram temple. His mother was a member, and his brother worked at the temple. A few weeks before the killings, his mother and father eventually moved out of Luke Air Force Base because his dad was a military member. But John wanted to stay behind, and they allowed him to, so he stayed with Alex Garcia. Investigators then went to where Garcia lived on the base, on Luke Air Force Base. In their room, investigators found several items: military gear, stereos, electronics, and cameras that all belonged to the temple members. A Stephanus shotgun was also located in Garcia's room. When tested, the disposed shells matched the exact same shells found at the temple. So now they have these 2 guys who were fucking nobody before all of this, dead to rights. The pair were arrested and almost immediately confessed to the killings. Their explanation was, quote, "We wanted to see if we could rob them and get away with it."
So why did they kill him?
That wasn't part of the plan.
Well, obviously. So what changed? Fear?
What they say
Adrenaline?
What they say is that adrenaline and Alex Garcia was known to have a temper, quote unquote,
Okay.
and that he was actually he was kind of the Rudolph, if you want to put him, he's the one leading the fucking sled. Duty was just following like Blitzen.
So 2 guys that weren't part of this whole other part of the story, kids at that, were the ones who killed 9 people?
Correct.
So it was an inside job.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No, well,
Yeah.
they kind of had an idea.
They had
And
an
they went
idea of this temple. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and
Okay, so how did the crazy
what I
guy know
remember-
about the? Go ahead.
No, from what I remember, now that you've kind of got into where it made more sense to me about this whole thing. Like, you had me totally thrown off with these 23 and 28. And I'm like, no way, because one of these guys, he was either an underclassman or above me. I'm pretty sure he was an underclassman that went to the same high school. They're still young, and the guys they thought there was more gold. They saw a bunch, because if you ever been to the temple, they got a bunch of stuff out there that's like painted gold, and supposedly they went actually and tried to rob them, and it was almost like a heat thing. Once they popped one, they wanted no witnesses, so they ended up taking out like everybody that was in the main temple, because they basically shot everybody that was in the main sanctuary of their temple.
Yeah.
And
They had them all in a circle.
yeah. And so there was how they would drop. They all had dropped. They almost like some of them didn't even run away. It was from, at least again, this is part of the story that I heard. Like, they literally took out 9 people that were inside the sanctuary, and they thought that they were going to be able to get like a whole mass bunch of gold and all this stuff, and they ended up not really getting much of anything.
Yeah.
And there was the one guy, and I don't, again, this was so long ago now, like, but you know, a little bit of it I remember. There was one guy that was the ringleader of the whole thing that was kind of instigating the others. And then, dude, they all cracked as soon as they, like one thing led to another and everything just kind of tumbled around them.
Which was that whole Tucson 4 thing.
Okay, so how did the crazy guy know about the whole blood carving?
Yeah. Okay. I'm about to tell you right now.
Oh, I didn't go past it. Did I?
No, you're good. You're good. Now, keep in mind, what's one of the things that I said at the beginning of this is that they were rushed to do this. So if someone's being rushed and you're being micromanaged, hey, you need to get this done now. You need to get this done now. He puts more pressure on you to finally get this confession, to get these murderers to do this, to do that. Now, here's where essentially the sheriffs fucked up. One thing that they did, and this is all documented too. The 4 individuals, Dante, Leo, Mark, and Mike, were taken into what's called a prop room. The prop room is set up by the sheriff's department to have evidence photos on the wall, to have evidence files on the table, to have evidence that no one would really know about unless the people who were involved were there. So when they arrested them that night, prior to the interrogations, they put them in this room and curiosity took over. They started going through the files. They started seeing photos. They started seeing people with fucking bullet wounds to the back of the head. Fingerprints, names, maps, so on and so forth. They even went as far as having sergeants and lieutenants find the suspects in the rooms and yelling at all of the other detectives to get them out. Why are they in this room? All men were put into this prop room for up to 30 to 45 minutes prior to their investigation. So now they have a knowledge of this case.
Yeah, they've seeded them.
Right? It's embedded in there. And you're asking, well, how did he know about the bloods on the wall, right? Well, this is what prosecutor Rick Romley discovered when he reread the transcripts. There was blood on the walls.
Just blood, not the word blood.
There was blood on the walls.
Yeah, I get it.
Investigators interpreted that as blood was carved in the wall.
Right.
So they literally took this guy in, and they were like, fucking dead to rights. No one would have known that if they would have just listened to what the guy was saying. He said walls, plural. And he actually asked the question. It wasn't even a statement. He said, was there blood on the walls?
Dang.
So really, really bad police work.
Very bad police work.
Based off of freaking an apostrophe S. Or is it apostrophe S?
Yeah, that's
plural.
Apostrophe S.
Yeah.
Between plural and singular?
Just plural. Yeah.
In the end of this whole thing, the two, Alex Duty and John Duty and Alex Garcia made off with about $2,600 in money wise, with 3 cameras, 2 stereos, some computer keyboards, and a few miscellaneous items. 3 months after the killing, Mike McGraw, Leo Bruce, Mark Nunez, and Dante Parker were released from jail with no charges. They had already served three months in jail, but now they're out and they have no charges.
And so much memories to take with them forever.
So much memories, right?
For the love of Arizona.
And in 1994, Jonathan Duty was sentenced to 281 years in prison.
For what?
For killing 9 people. Because it was actually found out that John killed the nun and the boy, her nephew. Alex shot all the other people. They literally walked.
I was going to say, so did they plea deal? How did he get away with? But they were minors too, though. They
were minors, but they were tried as adults. Alex
They don't ever
Garcia.
give them the death penalty.
No, Alex Garcia was sentenced to 271 years and got an additional 56 years because he'll be getting out soon.
Just in case he survives 200 years.
Right, because he confessed to the murder of Alice Marie Cameron the same night of the killing of the monks.
He killed somebody else?
Yes, he went up north towards NAU with his girlfriend later that night and robbed a woman for $20 fucking.
Jesus.
Wow.
Jordan Peterson, a homeless man, was sentenced for her death. He was sentenced to prison for that woman's death. 3 of the Tucson 4 sued Maricopa County's sheriffs, each person, 3 people, for $2.8 million. They won.
Of course they won.
Jordan Peterson also sued the Maricopa County sheriffs, a homeless man, not homeless no more, for $1.7 million.
He only saw about 5,000 of that. The attorney took.
Probably, but even still, he should hopefully be living comfortably somewhere.
I doubt it.
And within the last couple of years, in 2018, John Duty attempted to get a what the hell is that called?
Appeal?
An appeal?
An appeal to be released early, which they denied him completely.
Oh, they should.
No.
It is sad. It is sad. Like when you think about stuff like that, like, you really try to find grace in a lot of different people. But, because jail is supposed to be like rehabilitation.
Supposed to.
For some people it works and some people it doesn't. And it's just sad that you have a kid that's going to be there for the rest of his life. He made a mistake in 17 years old. But you also have to remember he made that intent. He made that conscious decision. Okay, well, let's go rob these people. Yeah.
Now the fact that Alex Garcia, his buddy, was the one that was like he can't be no witnesses. He followed along.
See, and the hard part about that whole thing to me is like the mental stability. Obviously, Alex was like off his rocker. So you could probably take some kind of like psychological test and then say, "No, Dad, looks like you're not getting out for a while. Like you're not rehabilitating. You're still off your rocker. You're going to stay in here. You're going to continue to stretch out your 200 years of imprisonment." Whereas the other cat could have been like, "Dude, you better freaking come with me or I'll kill you and your mom and dad. You better freaking come help me."
Easily.
Right? There's always that one person that's going to like pressure somebody else. Right?
Yes, but
or they both really were like batshit crazy.
I think they both really were batshit crazy because they both had records, or not records, but when you look at them, their eyes can tell a whole story.
What does mine say?
I don't know. You're wearing black glasses, man. It's very hard to tell.
They weren't they didn't have any juvenile records, right? They weren't troubled kids.
As far as I know, no. Well, Garcia did have some fights in high school, but nothing like where the police were involved or something like that.
So one was a military brat and the other one was a local.
Yeah. Well, one.
You have pictures?
My yearbook?
I can pull them up. But one was a military brat, yes. The other was a Thailand native who was made fun a lot at Agua Fria High School for his accent.
Bully.
Jeez.
So that could also play a factor, right? The whole mental case thing or mental illness.
Yeah.
No stability.
Bullying can
either one.
Get in.
So that was the story of the 9 murdered monks in Waddell, Arizona.
Damn. It was couple little kids, huh?
Yep.
Man, that was crazy. When we found out who it was, those of us who were still in contact with each other from high school, we were like, did you know it was blah, 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 and I'm trying to, I don't think I knew them personally by any stretch. That's what I'm saying. I think they were underclassmen or something. Either they were underclassmen, because, so when did that actual murder happen?
1991.
That's when I graduated. That's why I'm pretty sure they were underclassmen.
Yeah, it was August 10th, 1991.
So they were underclassmen. I didn't know. I just knew that they had gone to Agua Fria, and I'm like, madre. They just put a. That's what Agua Fria is graduating. A bunch of lunatics.
So listen,
yeah.
Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for listening. That was episode. I guess this would be 51.
Come on, get 51. It right. Which one is it?
We were supposed to do a live, but then we obviously decided not to. So this is
Why?
episode 51.
Why did you decide not to? What happened? Please tell me.
I cannot disclose that information. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you everybody for watching. Please make sure that you take a look at the link down below. We have iDiaz Media. There's going to be a link down below in the description. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow along with Botox.
So please go. Don't forget to go check out our Flow page. That's flow.page/BTWBJ. There you can find all of our links: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Buy us a beer. If you buy us a beer, we'll give you a shout out on the very next episode, and you might even get a sticker.
Hey, buy me an energy drink.
Or buy him an energy drink.
He clearly needs one.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, iDiaz Media. Where can people find you?
iDiaz Media. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, and I have a YouTube, but I haven't uploaded anything on there. Go figure it. Media that doesn't. So just so you know, I do small little commercials. I specialize with anybody that's doing small businesses. I can fly anywhere. I can go anywhere. But my biggest thing is helping out people who are, especially going after all this stupid COVID. I like to try to help people who are starting up brand new businesses and want to expand their footprint out on the social media world. So if you're interested, there are, you know what, by this time, hopefully when he produces this and gets this out there, I've already actually transferred over. Did you guys realize that I didn't put any of the people that I've been doing, all the work that I've been doing, I haven't uploaded it to my page. So nobody really gets to see the work that I've been doing. I don't know why. Somebody pointed that out.
Yeah, where is that?
I did.
Yeah, like the commercials.
Yeah.
The commercials that I've made and whatnot. I don't have them anywhere on my business page.
That's kind of the advertisement you're gonna need, pal.
You kind of need that, especially on Instagram.
you clearly are extremely busy. But
dude,
can you imagine if you put everything out, how much more following and work you'd get?
Just imagine. So thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Mr. Diaz, Mr. Izzy Diaz Media, for coming on. We love having you on, man. This was honestly a blessing. I didn't know that you knew the people.
I know, dude. As soon as you started saying that, I was just like, oh my God. I mean, not the fact that it happened, the fact that you're kind of dealing with something that not only is it in my state, but the fact that it was literally people that went to high school with me, the people that, I remember there was all this chatter going on about these cats, and it was just like, wow. And then to find out that I actually worked with somebody whose family was affected by it, and he came to work literally within a day or two, and people what are you doing here? Go home. The guy was literally like a zombie.
That kind of makes sense.
Work, knowing that his family had been, and I hate to say the word slaughtered. I mean, it was horrible.
That's what they were.
Yeah.
So did he know the kids? Did he know those guys?
No, he didn't know. He didn't know any of them.
Damn.
Well,
listen, man, we definitely got to get you back on. So thank you for coming.
You said that a year ago, and here we are. I don't know, a year.
Hey, we have to let it marinate, okay?
You gotta let it marinate.
You're back.
Thank you, man. Now? Yeah, talking about food. Thank you, man. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful evening. Again, this is Bo Talks with Big Jim and special guest iDiaz Media. Talk to you later, everybody. Peace.
Ow.